greatness of the greatest pairing presented today. And with that, I want to give a shout out to all the Illinois folks out there living in Chicago land, Bennies land. Little shout out to DJ Eli, my man Carlos Cuarta, and all the folks out there, and all my folks in Florida, Jacksonville area, Orlando, Miami, Tampa, even Hialeah with my boy Sergio over there representing. He's a mayor. So I want to welcome all of you to my court today. So with that, what's going on today? So let's take a look at what's on the docket for today's episode of Sticks and Sips. We have the cocktail I like to call the Faceoff, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But more importantly, my two litigants today, I have Mr. Chris Gwaltney from ABC and Mr. Jack Spethmann from Bennies presenting their case for the best pairing. Our sticks today, the KFC Fat Molly versus the Undercrown Sungrown Robusto. And we have our special sips today, Laphroaig 10 versus El Dorado 12. But most importantly, something brand new for this court, the Pappy Van Winkle Travel Humidor that we're giving away for any of the jurors out there in Facebook land that are watching. All you've got to do is ask Frankie Drinks. And if we pick your question, you get a Pappy Van Winkle Travel Humidor. This thing is sexy. How many cigars fit in here? A whole bunch. All you want to do is make sure you win one. So submit your questions. And with that, I want to go to the Zoom lounge where we're going to meet the jurors for today's debacle. So first up, I've got juror number 1, Miss Robin St. Pierre, all the way from the Detroit region. What's going on, juror 1?
Hello, how is everyone doing tonight?
We're doing awesome. We're doing awesome. We're ready for an incredibly fact-filled, knowledge-filled presentation of cases. So with that, I'm going to go to juror 2, Isola, Drew State Izzy. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good, Frank. Good evening.
I hope no one's made any inappropriate moves to sway your vote today on the jury.
I can be bought. I'm a swing voter.
Wow, that is. I'm just going to leave that alone for right now. Thank you.
Leave that alone.
Juror number 3, Mr. Chris Brower. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Frank. How are you tonight?
I'm doing awesome. It's good to see you. And I'm only saying that to be courteous.
Me too.
So, and last but not least,
he's least.
Juror number 4.
He's definitely least.
Easy, bailiff. Easy. Mr. Rex Snyder, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Are you ready to deliberate?
Yeah, wait, I got one thing. Fuck. I wanted to be the earliest person to swear on this show.
That's fantastic. Bailiff. Muzzle that juror. Thank you. And with that, mute him. Thank you. And next up, our first litigant, Mr. Chris Gwaltney. How are you, sir? You need to unmute yourself, but we'll get this.
It's his first time on here, so.
Yeah, it's my first time on here. Hey, look, first of all, as a person that is being tried, this is basically a trial. I would like to petition for an alternate juror. Do we have an alternate juror for one Rex Snyder, please?
We may have an alternate juror, sir, and we may take their input after the fact.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I feel like it's a fair trial.
Make sure you're ready to state your case. And then Mr. Jack Spethmann from Bennies, how are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine tonight, and I would like to agree with the other litigant that we need to replace juror number 4. That type of coarse language has no place in this courtroom.
I like it. I like
If
it.
this was Zoom, we would physically remove them, but right now we are bound by the rules of Zoom. But thank you for that. With that, I will ask all the jurors to keep your deliberations private until the appropriate time. And with that, this is a court that we hold in my bar. So with that being said, it's time for a cocktail because I'm gonna need one by the time I hear these cases. So I'm gonna ask the production staff to please put up the menu for this evening, the cocktail. So before I go there, something that I want to say is that the winning litigant today gets this beautiful trophy, one of a kind. This is a 2020 Faceoff Pairing Litigation Award. You know, so for the winner. So I wish you well in your deliberations. But with that, let's go to that cocktail. So I decided to do something a little bit special here, using the sips of this evening, which was El Dorado rum, a little bit of Laphroaig, some vermouth, and a little bit of orange liqueur, orange zest. Let's show up throw up the directions there. Super easy. Just combine all the ingredients with a lot of ice. Give it a really good stir. Strain it into a glass over some fresh ice, and then express a little orange zest on there. So we can go live now for our court reporter. All right, so what we're gonna do is get this lovely El Dorado 12 rum, and want to do about 1.5 ounces in there. If you're at home and you're gonna watch these deliberations, go ahead and put a good 4.5 ounce pour, because you're gonna need it. And then we want to do a little 1/2 ounce of Laphroaig. And you're gonna get that lovely Isla Scotch in there. So we're doing the best of the Caribbean and the best of Isla whiskey. We're gonna do a little bit of the vermouth. So we got Carpano Antica, my favorite. And that's just gonna give it that sweetness. And we don't need any extra bitterness in this cocktail. So we're omitting the bitters. And last but not least, I'm using Napoleon, Mandarin Napoleon, and just another little 1/2 ounce going in there. And nice and easy. And I'm ready to hear these cases. So what you want to do is give it a really good stir. Is this making enough noise? That's fantastic. This is my court. I can do what I want today. And here we go. Into a glass. If you got a Drew Estate glass, it tastes extra delicious. And then a little bit of an orange zest in there just for some flavoring and aromatics. So I want to express that and get it in there. And with that, there's your Face-Off. For all you guys that had to deal with those ugly faces on that social post for a whole week, this one's for you. So salud to everyone out there. Good luck. First up, my first litigant. By the way, that's quite delicious. My first litigant from ABC, the humidor specialist, Mr. Chris Gwaltney. Sir, introduce yourself to the court.
Real simple, man. I am the buyer, cigar category manager. Basically, if it's cigars, I handle it at ABC. And we bring in the products. Like, obviously, we sell a lot of Drew Estate products. So it's it is my absolute job. I'm living a dream, bro. I work for a liquor company. I get all the booze I want, and I'm the cigar guy. How could it, cigars and booze, how can I lose? So. You cannot.
I'm going to withhold my judgment and comments, but in this case, yes, sir, you have a fantastic job. So congratulations on that. And how many ABCs are there in Florida, sir?
Right now, I believe 126. We just opened one last week, getting ready. We got a couple coming out of the ground here, so we're growing. And just a few little stores here. It's a little over 100 stores, floating around Florida. But You know, we've been around since 1936, going in our fourth generation of family ownership. It's a great company. It's just stuff you don't see today anymore. Everybody gets bought up by big conglomerates and everything, you know, on the retail side. So it's really nice. We are a mom and pop. We're just have a lot of locations, and like I tell you, it's a great people to work for. They got a great vision, and we're in a great state for selling alcohol, baby. And what better place than Florida to sell booze? We have all kinds of reasons to drink, from COVID to hurricane parties to just because it's Wednesday. You know, that's how we do it.
So you don't supply alcohol for any Sharknadoes?
Those are up on, like, that's the Northeast. That's the Northeast thing. We don't do Sharknadoes down here.
All right, I was just checking.
But no,
just
but yeah.
checking. All right, so sir, I'm going to ask you a question. What
All right,
cigar
man.
have you chosen for this lovely debacle?
Frankie, let me ask you, did you have any doubt what I was going to pick for my pairing? I mean, you know what I like. You know it was going to be Kentucky Fire Cured, and you know it was going to be the peat, the smoke, the peanut butter and jelly, the ham and burger, Laphroaig, and Kentucky Fire Cure. See, man, I'm so caught up in this Southern thing, man. I'm thinking fried chicken, but you know, we could talk about that too.
I understand that. So I'm going to ask just for all the jurors out there. So I'm going to remind the jurors, make sure you submit your questions. Ask Frankie Drinks or ask Judge Drinks, whatever you like today. Make sure that you submit those questions, that you get them in. Make sure you vote for your favorite litigant and for your favorite pairing. And above all, make sure that if you're checking in, make sure you represent your hood, because I love seeing that the next day when people are checking in. And I got some check-ins from Australia last week and all over the US, and I love seeing that. So shout out to all the people checking in today. So, Mr. Gwaltney.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit about that KFC. Can we throw up that slide, please? So we've got the KFC, and we know that's a Kentucky Fire Cured wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, plus some Kentucky Fire Cured filler and some premium Nicaraguan fillers. But that body, that's a medium body cigar, correct? How would you describe it?
For me, I'd say from a strength standpoint, definitely not over medium, but from a flavor standpoint, it is out there. It's bold, you know. And when you're talking about, you know, if I am going to do a cigar pairing and I'm with Drew Estate's motto is being bold, right? Going out there, going for it. We're not doing the traditional thing. We are going to do it 90 miles an hour, no stopping. And the KFC is the wide open 200 miles an hour down the interstate cigar from a flavor standpoint. It's so unique. There's nothing else like it. And it shares a lot of the same things, not only the flavor. I mean, we could talk about the flavor components in the Scotch and the Isla Scotch and the Laphroaig 10 that we're doing, and this cigar, the smokiness and all the things that come together. But I think from a reputation standpoint, the cigar and the Scotch, Isla Scotch, they share two things to me besides flavor. First of all, the love-hate relationship that people have with these brands. If you find someone who drinks Isla Scotch, they freaking love it. And then people who don't drink it, they hate it. There's no one that says, I think I'll have a little Isla today, if they don't like it, right? Same thing for KFC cigars. People who love it, it's bold, and people who don't like it or perceive that they don't like it, I might add, there's no middle ground with those two. You either love them or you don't like them, right? And I think the second thing is, the reason that is, I think people don't go back and revisit them. They get this thing in their head from when they had Scotch a long time ago when they weren't ready for it, and they already have this preconceived notion before they take that first sip, and they don't get through it. And I think it's the same thing with the KFC cigar. I think people smell it and they smell that smokiness and they like it because, it's going to be too harsh, it's going to be too strong. You just got to give it a shot, man. And you got to give it a shot with this pairing, with this Laphroaig, man. I mean, it's these two guys. They're like brothers. You know, one's in the U.S., one's in Scotland, and they were like twins separated at birth, and now they've been reunited at summer camp, and they're trying to get mom and dad to get married again, and it's all greatness, man. It's great.
So tell us a little bit about the Laphroaig 10. because I want people to understand what is Isla Scotch really.
Well, I mean, Isla Scotch, is known for peat. There's a handful of Scotch producers there, but Laphroaig is one of them. And I really love the Laphroaig 10 because to me, my impression is when it comes to Isla Scotch, the younger Scotches, I think, have a more wild and peaty presence, and they're a little bit less rounded out. And it's a little bit more, it's kind of like KFC cigar. It's like kind of in your face with the smoke. And I think when they get some age on them, I think they kind of round out and soften up. And they're great. Don't get me wrong. They're nuanced and they're great. But I think that the younger the Isla, I think the Laphroaig 10 is like a good representation of what you're going for when you're going for that intense, bold smoke flavor. And they're just peaty. I mean, if you've had people on here from Scotch before that you've had the brand ambassador for Laphroaig, and we're not going to go into a deep lesson on how Scotch is made, but basically there's not a lot of trees in Scotland. So they use peat as a heat source. And the reason why, even in blended Scotches, you're going to get some kind of peat in there is because they use that as a drying agent in the kiln to once they start producing and they get the barley, they get it cooking to start germination and to be able to get those sugars, soluble starches, and to come out and they can convert to sugar. They have to wet it, and to stop the germination, they heat it up, and they use peat. And in Laphroaig and Isla, they're very, very peaty. And in other parts of Scotland, not so much. Even in single malt Scotches. So I love Isla. I love all Scotch. I mean, I even like blended Scotch, but to me, it's like that is the quintessential. That's the thing, right? That is, if you're thinking Scotch and you're thinking, to me, the quintessential Scotch is Isla Scotch. And I mean, these two were like made for each other.
Bailiff, I'm going to ask for your input. Has he said anything of questionable nature?
No, not at this time. I think he's staying above the belt, which is really strange. I wasn't expecting that from Mr. Gwaltney. So, but notes are taken. I see Mr. Spethmann is taking notes himself for his return fire. So let's see where this goes.
All right. Thank you, Bailiff. And I want to make sure that everybody out there is voting for their best preferred pairing, be it Mr. Gwaltney from ABC or Mr. Spethmann from Bennies. As long as you don't vote for Rex, that's all I'm asking. So let's make sure that we're staying on track here. So, Mr. Gwaltney, you've actually prepared a second pairing for us with KFC, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what do you have for us?
Now, this is crazy. People will say you are nuts. First of all, I will say that I think gin is an underused product when it comes to going with cigars. You did a show about it last week, which I was a little upset. I'm like, man, gin was going to be my big thing, and you could have waited another week till after I released gin upon the world. But that's cool, man. That's cool.
Are you knocking the judge?
I'm not knocking the judge. I'm just saying it would have been helped my case. I
just wanted to be clear.
Right. Not knocking the judge. All respect, sir. But anyway, we want to do a local spirit. So, and in Florida, we got some great distilleries. We got one here in Jacksonville, Manifest. We've got St. Augustine down the road. We've got Old St. Pete, which is in St. Pete. And what I've chosen today is a gin. That's right. KFC and gin. Old St. Pete. And look, I know it sounds crazy, but we're being bold. We're going the other end of the spectrum. I promise you it works. It's crazy. And it's not crazy like, Chicago putting a salad on a freaking hot dog, or Chicago,
shots have been fired.
Or Chicago taking pizza and turning it into some kind of cheese meat sauce casserole, or I don't know, taking a band named after your city and taking the rhythm and horn section out and giving us more Peter Cetera. No, that's not that stupid and that crazy.
Oof.
It actually works. It actually works.
Well, I believe that is a strong case for you locally.
I think the gloves are off, man. The gloves are off.
Gloves are off.
Bailiff, have the gloves come off?
They are off.
All right. So, yes, you may. Whatever you were going to do, yes, you may.
I think it's time to bring out our second litigant to defend himself in the honor of the great state of, and the great city, I should say, of Chicago.
Right, but one
And the
thing,
inhabitants.
hang on. I'm running court here.
All right, bang your gavel, bang your
I'm
gavel.
gonna bang the gavel here just to keep everybody in order here. So, as I like to say, odor in the court, and it was probably lunch. So, anyway, so with that, Mr. Gwaltney, for the last piece of your case, if you were to pair something non-alcoholic with a KFC, what would you pair with it?
2 words, Dr. Pepper.
Why would you choose Dr. Pepper, sir?
You know, it's got spice. It's one thing I really like about this gin. Circle back to the gin. This isn't a juniper forward gin. You're going to get more cardamom and you're going to get more spice on that end, and it's going to be a little bit of citrus because it's Florida, so it's going to be some citrus essence. So it's not, there's juniper there, it's laying there, but it's a little bit more on the spice side of this one forward. And I think that's the reason why this works, and it's the same reason why Dr. Pepper works. Dr. Pepper's got all those things going, and it's been kind of, it's not a secret anymore, but throughout the years, cigar people, they know it. If you smoke cigars for a long time, you've probably been turned on to the Dr. Pepper trick when you can't get your hand on some booze, and it worked great. It's absolutely in this cigar, boom, spice, smoke, wood, man, it's all on.
Well, I thank you for stating your case for Kentucky Fire Cured, Laphroaig, homegrown local St. Pete gin, and Dr. Pepper. I believe you stated a very clear case, and I thank you. I say a little toast, because don't do that, sir. Not in my court. One at a time. Thank you. And with that, I want to introduce. So I want to introduce my next litigant, Mr. Jack Spethmann from Bennies. How are you, Mr. Spethmann?
I'm doing just fine, Frank. Judge Dranks. I'd like to start off.
There was a little bit of
saying,
sarcasm with that.
Oh, I'll get there. I want to start off with saying my fellow litigant did choose a very bold pairing with the KFC, and I would expect nothing less from a cowboy down south. However, he did take a couple of unfair shots, like salad on a hot dog. I truly do believe that ketchup on a hot dog is wrong. A Chicago-style hot dog is delicious, fantastic, and balances perfectly to a solid meal. Now, speaking of meals, deep dish pizza is a sit-down meal. This isn't your fold in half, gonna eat it on the go kind of thing, but it's something you do every now and then. Now, the number one type of pizza in Chicago is actually tavern cut style. I don't blame you for not knowing that, because we're known for our deep dish pizza, which is usually what we do when guests come into town. So Chris, if you ever come into Chicago, I'll gladly take you out for some Lou Malnati's and show you the way.
Thank you for your opening statement, sir. That was very, very bold and addressed all the issues that we're addressing right now. But most importantly, what I'd like to say is, do you have a Drew Estate cigar that you are focusing on in your case?
Absolutely. So when picking from the vast portfolio that Drew Estates offers, it becomes difficult to try to lock down one thing. And sometimes for situations such as these, a fond memory will draw a cigar to you. And so I picked the Undercrown Sungrown Robusto. The first time I was able to get my hands on this cigar was actually down on Safari before it was released. I remember smoking it on a very beautiful patio overlooking some hills and having a nice glass of rum. So when I came to decide what I would pair together, for me, it was obvious to go with the Sungrown and a nice bottle of rum.
So why don't we remind all the jurors out there that that they still have an opportunity to submit their questions, ask Frankie Dranks or ask Judge Dranks or ask any of the litigants or the jurors. But most importantly, submit your questions and you may get chosen to win the Pappy Van Winkle Travel Humidor. So I want to do that little reminder for the court that's watching out there today and remind them to go ahead and check in and to behave themselves in that Facebook chat, which I read the next day and see some of the banter, which if I was in control, I would have a few things to say about. But I'm going to leave that to the bailiff, who's in control of the chat room at this given moment. So, Mr. Spethmann, with your case about the Undercrown Sungrown, let's throw up that beautiful graphic that we had. So the Sungrown is Ecuadorian Sumatran Sungrown wrapper over the Connecticut Sungrown Habano binder over that beautiful Nicaraguan long filler. But this is a full-bodied cigar, sir. I know you are aware of this.
Yes, it is. This is definitely not what I like to refer to as a morning cigar. Like Juror number 4 prefers a tobacco in the morning. I know that. No suck up points. I just know that's the way he rolls. But the reason that I picked this is for some of the tasting notes you can get from the Sungrown, some of the leather, the wood, some cedar pepper, and I even find like a slight cinnamon finish, which transitions very well into not only the cocktail you've put together, which looks very tasty, sir, but also the tasting notes on also the tasting notes on the El Dorado 12. So for me, when you open that El Dorado 12, first thing on the smell, you're going to get some tropical fruit, spice, maybe some honey, a little bit of dark sugar. When you go to actually sip it, it is also a somewhat full-bodied rum. And in that, we're pairing our body with our body, our stick and our sip. I find that when I sip on the rum, I get a little bit of a fruitiness in there, and it finishes very clean, almost an elegant dry finish.
Having reviewed the evidence, I will concur.
Excellent. So, the reason that these two...
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
I was going to say the reason these two go together so well, especially for me, is that fruit and that spice note play really well with kind of that woody note and the pepper inside the cigar. We're bouncing flavors off of flavors, enhancing each other, and doing something really nice with the palate.
Fantastic. I believe you stated the first half of your case. Now we're going to get to the second half of your case, sir. So you have introduced something to us called Whiskey Acres. Could you tell us a little bit about this spirit?
Absolutely. Whiskey Acres is made in a distillery in DeKalb, Illinois. It's a somewhat newer distillery, but they're fantastic guys out there. I had a chance to visit, and DeKalb's actually where I went to school. NIU, go Huskies. But with bourbon especially, what's the most important ingredient in bourbon?
The barrel. But so go ahead, make your case, sir.
So what I would say is the corn. The corn is very important. And DeKalb has status as being the place where sweet corn was developed within the university, so that we have some of the finest sweet corn stands. As you're driving from DeKalb back to Chicago, every 20, 30 miles, some farmers out there selling you sweet corn. So the fact that we have a distiller making bourbon with sweet corn, and this isn't just a new farmer. This gentleman has had this farm in his family for generations. They've mastered what they do with the corn. They found that they have a little limestone water underneath, a little well. So they're using everything from their property to put together this spirit, something really unique and something I thought the court should have a chance to try.
Well, I think for all our jurors that are out there in Chicago land and Illinois land, they have the opportunity to acquire Whiskey Acres. And if you don't, make sure that you check in with whiskeyacres.com, and you're going to find a beautiful product, I believe. I'm still on the evidence of the El Dorado rum. So with that, sir, to close out your case, I would ask, if you were to pair the Undercrown Sungrown with a non-alcoholic beverage, what would that be?
So, as I've stated, the Undercrown Sungrown is spicy, it's woody, it's cedary, it's everything that I want when I pick up a cigar. So to pair it with that, I would do something like an iced coffee. Personally, I happen to be a fan of Dunkin' Donuts, a little bit of caramel, some sweetness added to the iced coffee to bounce back and forth and to really to balance out what you're getting from the cigar. So that's the route I would go.
Is that the end of your case?
Yes. I'll rest.
So with that, I want to thank both litigants for presenting some wonderful pairing cases. Bailiff, is there anything we're missing at this given moment? You need to unmute yourself, Bailiff.
The most used term in COVID land is unmute yourself. Again, surprised. Jack was very, very gracious in his return fire. So I was
He didn't
a little
mention
taken aback.
Florida man one time, not
Only
one
once.
time.
Only once. But no, everything is going very well. Let's see now. I mean, the gloves are off, so let's see if we can get bloody. Let's see
All
if
right,
there
so-
can be some back and forth.
So I'm going to ask Mr. Gwaltney, is there any commentary on Mr. Spethmann's pairing?
No, I think Jack had a good solid pairing. I appreciate him picking one of our sourced and certified rums to do it. It's great. Appreciate it. You're in Florida. You can get that El Dorado at all ABCs. We love you. Thank you. And secondly, I would petition the court to deduct points from his total for living in a place that produces this.
We're not going to introduce that into the evidence at
I
this
can't.
moment. Thank you, sir.
I would like to Exhibit A. Exhibit A.
It's Exhibit B right now. So.
Okay. All right.
So,
I tried.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Gwaltney. Mr. Spethmann, do you have an answer?
Absolutely.
Does it start with Florida man?
It does not start with Florida man. I knew that coming into this, I was going to take the high road no matter what was brought my way. I appreciate Mr. Gwaltney for everything he does down there. He has a very, very bold pairing. I appreciate the plug for the El Dorado. Bennies also handpicked several barrels of whiskey acres you can find on our shelves when you come to visit Illinois. Highly recommend. And actually, why don't you go visit their distillery? They're open Friday through Sunday. So if you're coming through and you've got nothing else to do in DeKalb, go see those guys. Tell them where you heard about it.
All right. So with that, I'm going to take a small break, and we're going to show a lovely break for the court of our Acid 20 cigar. So if you guys tuned in last week, you know what I'm talking about. So with that, I'm going to ask the court reporter to run that beautiful footage. So.
For the victory lap, though.
So we're back from our break. We had two amazing cases being stated for some amazing, truly incredible pairings of Drew Estate cigars. But I'm going to go to our court reporter that's out there right now, and he's got some very interesting guys. For those of you guys that are watching, we have our artist rendering of all the litigants and jurors, because you guys need to see this. So thank you to our in-house artist for representing all our lovely people in the courtroom. So I'm going to open deliberation right now. I'm going to go with juror number 1, Miss Robin.
Yeah.
What did you think of the cases being stated for Drew Estate cigar pairings?
They both have great points. The Sungrown with the Dunkin' Donuts coffee with a hint of caramel, which I got to make sure I got it perfectly right. The notes are perfect. The way they pair the spicy to the Sungrown and the sweet, just the hint of sweet with the caramel and the coffee is a great pairing. And then I moved on to the KFC with the Dr. Pepper. Now, Chris Gwaltney's got me with Dr. Pepper. We all know Robin loves Dr. Pepper. So it is a great case between the two of them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, juror number 1. Moving to juror number 2, Drew State Izzy. What did you think of the cases being stated in the Frankie Drinks court today?
Well, the cases were fine. I'm still looking at my checking account at this point. So as soon as I get a deposit, I can thoroughly and truly say which one was the best. I do appreciate. However, at this time, my checking account does not see any deposit, so I'll be waiting.
Wow.
Or the car. I didn't receive a package either, so I will take cash payments or liquor payments, either one.
We understand that, and you know, in the Frankie Drinks court, we'll let that go. So, juror number 3, Mr. Brower.
Yeah, what's up, man?
What did you
So
think
this one's
about
tough.
the cases?
This one's tough. So, you know, you talk about that there's basically 2 ways to approach pairing, and both these guys came up with both those ways. You've got Chris, he's going for the reinforcement side, something smoky with something smoky. And then you've got Jack that went with the contrasting. You know, he picked basically something that's powerful, peppery, and contrasted that with something that's sweet and rich. So you're choosing between the 2 types of pairing. And, you know, with Chris's choice, you've got, you know, you think that combination is going to be a smoke bomb. It's not, because what happens is actually the smokiness of that cigar knocks down some of the smoky notes on the Laphroaig. And it actually, you get more of those sweet notes out of that Laphroaig, smoking those 2 together. So it's not a smoke bomb. And with Jack, you know, the rum really kind of tames down some of that pepper and that spice and those other elements, and they just blend together really nice. Unfortunately, my decision's really kind of based on timing. So my preferences week to week change, month to month change. And unfortunately, right now, I'm actually on a barrel-aged rum kick. And on top of that, I actually have kind of rekindled my fondness of the Sungrown. So I'm going to go with Jack on this.
Well, I didn't want you to go ahead and reveal your vote there. So bailiff, you know,
Oh, shit.
Censor that juror. So I will move on to juror number 4. And before I get to juror number 4, I hope that everyone out there in Facebook Landia, as my good friend JD likes to say, is popping in with their vote for their best pairing and who they think is going to be fantastic and who they would rule in favor of. And with that, I go to Mr. Snyder, who's been patiently waiting for his input. So for those of you in Facebook that needed a bathroom break, this is the time to take it. So go ahead, Mr. Snyder.
I was a little confused there. I thought we had Pedro back on this episode, but it was Brower. So anyway, so analyzing, you know, ABC Chris, a lot of passion. I like it. I would have liked more information, and I also would have kind of liked a unique pairing. I thought bringing the gin in was good. That was a nice touch. Okay. As far as Mr. Spethmann, Benny's Jack, he was very prepared and very informative. And I like the contrast between the sweetness of the rum and the Undercrown Sungrown. So I thought that was really good. So it's going to be a hard decision to make for some of us who have yet to make our decision.
Well, I would remind the jurors out there that if they're watching on Facebook, that they mute the Facebook feed, just so we get a clear vision of what you guys are saying. So with that, I'm going to open the floor I'm going to open the floor for rebuttal from Mr. Spethmann first. So do you have any commentary in regards to what you've heard from the jurors?
No, Frank, I agree with most of what was said, except for Izzy. You failed to text me your number, so I can't cash app you right now. I apologize. Maybe later we'll talk off here. Okay, but yeah, no, there's some really well placed points, and I think I knew going into this that I was up against stiff competition.
Well, I will tell you this. This is going to be a very, very tough decision for me. So I'm going to say, Jack, make your case for Chicago.
Oh.
Represent your hood. So let's do this.
Chicago is one of the greatest cities in the world. There's no place like it. We constantly get undersold for New York or LA, but there is nothing like summertime Chicago. You have to come out, enjoy the weather, the sights, the seats, everything. We're right by the lake. I don't know anywhere else that's got high rises as tall as we have right next to beach in Lake Michigan. We've got great sports culture. We've got great bar culture. We've got fantastic nightlife. If I need to make this case for Chicago, I don't feel that I'm prepared for that because I can't say enough about the city that I love.
What's the best thing to eat in Chicago? One thing. Let's go.
You're killing me, Frank.
And you can't do Al's beef, and you can't do Lou Malnati's. What's next?
Portillos, hands down. I think Florida's finally getting those down there. You have to let me know if you get some down there, Mr. Gwaltney.
Tell us about Portillos.
Portillos, similar to Chicago hot dog place, very atmospheric on the inside. They have a chocolate cake shake. Yes, I said that correctly. They take bits of their chocolate cake and turn it into a milkshake. You can get your Italian beef. You can get your Polish sausage. You can get beautifully done chopped salads. Just about anything that Chicago is known for, Portillos has, and they are starting to expand. They did not pay me for this, but if they'd like to, I can always get in contact with them with my Cash App number. We'll talk about that later.
So for those of you guys out in Facebook land, if you're a Portillos fan, make sure you vote for Jack, because I think he's made a good case. Because if there was a Portillos around here right now, I'd be leaving. And you know, I always have a pocket Cuban sandwich hanging around, and I had some croquetas, but Jack ate them all. Jack Hayer, that is our producer. So with that, Mr. Gwaltney, do you make your case for Florida, man? So, and you've got choice. You got Jacksonville, you got Orlando, you got Miami. I'll give you even Hialeah. So do your thing.
Well, first of all, I do want to say there's a lot of great things about Chicago. I mean, think about Chicago Blues, Muddy Waters, hell, today, Chance the Rapper. You got an interstate that will take you south of Florida. I mean, it's a great town, right? Many, many great things. But, you know, Florida, you just nailed it. You said those cities, we have diversity. We have more coastline. We have beaches. We have outdoors. If you're an outdoors person, you like to hunt, you like to fish, you like to play golf. We have nightlife. You can pretty much anywhere in Florida, you're just a few minutes away from a total different culture. We're a blending of all cultures. We're like a microcosm of what America is, true melting pot. I mean, everybody from Florida is from somewhere else almost. There's a few people, you go in a room of 1,000 people, who was born here, you might see 2 or 3 hands, right? I mean, it's like everybody comes here. Why do people come here? Other than we don't have to pay state income tax, it's because the state is freaking awesome. I've never heard anyone say, hey, I feel like we're getting ready to retire. Let's move to Chicago. It's not happening, bro. They come to Florida. They come to Florida for a reason, because Florida kicks ass. I don't have to talk about the food. I don't have to talk about anything else. We got the best weather, you know, and even when we do have bad weather, we freaking celebrate it, dude. I mean, you know, you don't have that middle of the night tornado takes out of town stuff. It's like we literally party for 5 days. Bring your ass on, hurricane. We're freaking Florida, and we don't give a shit. And that's a Florida spirit. We're there, and that's really all I got to say about Florida, bro. We are a special breed indeed.
Well, with 128 stores, I believe we are prepared for any storm that comes our way. At this given moment, I'm going to deviate. So thank you very much, Mr. Gwaltney, for your rebuttal, Mr. Spethmann for your rebuttal. Now I'm going to go to the bailiff because the bailiff has his own moment that we build into this court, the Frankie Drinks court. And Joey, bailiff Joey, do we have a mezcal for this momentous occasion?
Yes, we do. The wonderful Alapus. And this is a brand of mezcal that is always on my shelf. It's always just rock star stuff. And for people who don't know and haven't tried mezcal yet, this is where you're going to end up at some point in your journey. And it's going to stay on your shelf because it's just super duper. And it goes great with any cigar that we make. But for this pairing, man, the Sungrown is the way to go for a mezcal. However, on the occasion where the smokiness has dissipated from my palate from all the mezcal that I drink, a KFC brings that all roaring back in such a wonderful way. So I'm very torn between the pairings that have been presented and the cases that have been stated so far. But that's my minute, my mezcal minute in 30 seconds.
Well, with that, for the first time, I'm going to go to the questions without the bailiff's assistance. And I appreciate your input. And I do like the fact that, yes, that if we get some certain mezcals, can go either way with the UC Undercrown.
You know, Bennies has an
KFC.
incredible mezcal selection. Probably one of the better ones I've seen in the U.S. in total. So it's, you know, it could be swayed if there's a hung jury here and I'm the deciding vote. Again, you know,
Well,
could be swayed.
I'm not going to comment. I have seen both ABC's and Benny's mezcal selection, and I will reserve commentary at this time. But I have shipped out
Duly
a whole lot of mezcal out of Benny's. Thank you, Jack. Anyway, so with that, our first winner for tonight's Travel Pappy Van Winkle Travel Humidor, we have John Crabtree. John, congratulations. And this goes to both. Wow. I've been on the show for a while, drinking. Anyway, what's the best-selling DE cigar out of ABC? So, Mr. Gwaltney, what's the best-selling DE cigar over in your area?
The best-selling DE cigar as far as units would be the Blondie, Acid Blondie, by far, just because of price point. And yeah, that's number one. But we do sell a lot of factory smokes. That was a good thing for you guys to get into that game. We also sell a lot of Cuba Cubas. We have several DE products that are in our top 20 of total SKUs. You take bundles out of it, you guys are well represented in that category. So we sell a lot of acid, but we sell a lot of your other brands too. I mean, we sell a lot of Liga. We got some stores that absolutely crank with Liga. And if you could get me more, I'd sell more. So that's all I'm going to say.
I don't believe there's anyone on here that has any control over that, but I will send it up the ladder. Thank you very much, Chris. Jack, what's our best-selling DE SKU?
Hands down,
Benny's.
Cuba. Hands down, Cuba. That's our number one seller. Number two is going to be the Blondie. Chris hit it on the head with the factory smokes starting to knock it out of the park. And if Mr. Gwaltney needs any Liga Privadas, I may know a couple places that have them in stock. Just let me know. I might be able to ship you down some.
All right. So juror number 4 needs to stay quiet at this given moment. Thank you very much. So with that, congratulations, John. And next question, Ted Munch. Congratulations. Question for Chris. Does ABC plan on expanding their shipping outside of Florida in the future? And I'm going to imagine that's referring to the humidor.com.
Yes. So alcohol, we can't because liquor laws, we can't ship alcohol outside the state of Florida, but we can do cigars. So if you want to get any cigar that we carry, we actually have we carry we actually have cigars that you're not going to find in every store. We have a larger portfolio for online, and so you can find some interesting deals. Our pricing is as good as anybody, but our service is great. You got a problem, we fix it. So it's thehumidor.com. No matter where you are in the U.S., you can order the cigars from there if you're not in Florida. And if you're in Florida, stop in one of our stores, talk to us. We'd love to help you out. But yeah, if you're out of the state and you want to get some cigars, we can ship you cigars from Florida, but unfortunately we can't ship alcohol at this time.
Got you. Understood. So Jack, I know you guys, Bennies is working on an online system, correct?
We're working on a couple of things. I don't think the online system's at the point where it needs to be, but if you go to bennies.com and you know what cigar you're looking for, you are able to purchase it online and we will ship it to you. So you may not see a landing page for cigars, but the possibility to buy cigars, anything that I have in my warehouse is available online. And we do have very good pricing, just like Chris does. So I'd love it if you guys shop both.
Well, that's fantastic because you guys are fantastic partners in Drew Estate. So if you're in the Bennies area, go on the bennies.com website. You can find it. If you're in the Florida and Southeast area or anywhere, get on the humidor.com and you will find some amazing cigs that can get shipped out to you. And that is fantastic. Jack, I want to confirm Bennies will not ship alcohol out of the state either, correct?
No, correct. It has to do with something well above me and Mr. Gwaltney, almost at the federal level. Because if we could ship alcohol, I guarantee you, both of us would be very busy shipping bottles to everyone around.
So I will move on to the next question. So congratulations. And let's see what the next question is. Celestino Zamora asked the question, what is peat? And I imagine it's not, he's asking what St. Pete is. So so that is, it's actually peat, and that is what's in the Laphroaig 10. And as Chris was explaining earlier, Chris, you want me to grab this one?
I mean, I can, just as much as I do. I mean, it's
you know what?
simple.
I like the sound of your voice, so let's
All
go.
right, cool.
Let's do this.
So peat is basically organic matter. It's moss that is basically decomposed over many years, and it gets compacted, and they go out and they have these peat bogs, and they go out and harvest this stuff, and they've used it for centuries as a fuel source, right? So it's just like I said, not a lot of trees in Scotland, so. It's their primary fuel source. Think of it as kind of like coal that's above ground. It's kind of similar, but it's not to that extent. It hasn't taken millions of years, but this stuff has been around, and they harvest this stuff. They cut it in these big chunks, and that's what the heat source they use, and that's where you get the smoke. Now the peat in St. Pete is St. Petersburg, Florida. So I probably should have pointed that out. I want to confuse anybody. There's no peat in the gin. No peat in the gin. The peat is from St. Pete, Florida. So. Any people from St. Pete in the house? How you guys doing out there? But yeah, St. Petersburg, Florida, beautiful place, wonderful, and that's the gin, and it's no peat in it. It's just gin with, like I said earlier, not if you're somebody who likes Hendrix gin, you like a gin doesn't have a lot of juniper, that's a Hendrix. If you like a Scotch, it's got a shitload of peat, Laphroaig 10, baby.
All right. Well, for everybody who wants to know where St. Petersburg is, it's look up Tampa and you'll find it. So fantastic. So our next question, and I would not have picked this question at all, but it's by John David Campidonica, and congratulations because you win this. Is like, what are you wearing under that robe, dude? So. Much like a Scotsman, you figure it out. So we've got to the end of our questions, and with that, so I will tell you what. Let's we're gonna go to a wrap up. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna judge this case because you guys have made some amazing cases for ABC, for Bennies, for your pairings. and I'm gonna deliberate. But in the meantime, I'm gonna throw up a little support graphic because I think we need that at this time. So gives me a minute to think. So I would suggest that you guys support your local brick and mortars, support your local cigar shops, support your lovely, lovely, beautiful Drew Estate partners like ABC and Binnies and Specs in Total that are out there in your neighborhoods that have your DE products, and go out and get them. This is a great time, and support our hospitality industry because this is a time that they really, really do need it. And we'll get past this and we'll be really good. So I'm not going to deliberate. I'm not going to issue a final judgment at this time, but I am going to thank our jurors. Izzy, do you have any final words on this?
This is going to be.
Now's the time that you tell me who you're voting for.
This is hard. Unfortunately, nothing has yet to hit my account. So, I'm torn. I've lived in Chicago. I've also lived in Florida. This is just hard for me. And just perhaps if payment would have been received, I could have given it.
It's COVID. It's COVID. We understand. Everybody's trying to make a dollar. So
I'm torn, Frank. I'm literally pulled into pieces right now.
This is the makings of a hung jury. So I will take your 50-50 vote. Robin St. Pierre, how are you ruling today?
So I'm also torn, but I will have to say that this Kentucky Fire Cured with the Dr. Pepper is one hell of a pairing. So I'm gonna have to go with Chris Gwaltney.
Oh,
thank you very much.
One.
Mr. Brower.
Yeah, man. What's
Where
up?
are you at?
Well, I spilled the beans earlier, so like I said before, this decision came down to just timing, man. Right now I'm on a barrel-aged rum kick, and also the Sungrown is just kind of really been speaking to me lately, especially since the Dogma Sundog came out. So that's my decision.
Understood.
1-1.
Mr. Snyder, you are the deciding vote at this time.
Unmute yourself, Mr. Snyder.
Yeah, that's a good start. Thank you, bailiff.
Indeed. I think you have to go back to juror number 2 and actually get her to vote and then come back to me.
She did vote.
She's got to do one or the other.
She voted 50-50. So you've got to vote. So
ask your producer. All right. I like Chicago a lot because he was really prepared and it was new and it was fresh. I also like Florida. I live here. I live in the craziest part of Florida, Miami. So there's no sanity down here whatsoever. So I'm a Florida guy now. So I'm 50-50 too.
What the fuck? So bailiff, what is
Somebody
the count?
Mute him.
What is the count right now?
It's 1.5 to 1.5.
It's
Or no,
it's
or 2. Oh, sorry, 2 to 2. It is a tie, and then that tie must go to the judge to decide ultimately.
Well,
according to the rules of this court.
As the rules of the court, and I will bang the gavel because I'm allowed one more time. And with that, I will issue my ruling. And the winner for the ultimate pairing, this is the Sticks and Sips Pair Off Championship. The winning litigant is Rex Snyder on behalf of Drew Estate for having to deal with both Chris Gwaltney and Jack Spethmann on a weekly, if not daily basis. So with that, Mr. Snyder, congratulations. you win by default. I apologize to Mr. Gwaltney. I apologize to Mrs. Spethmann, and I apologize to everyone in Facebook land for your votes. Because at the end, they go to Rex, and that's never a good thing. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up, and I'm going to thank you for playing along, because today was an amazing day. And I will go around the horn, but I did want to say a couple of things here. First of all, little prayers out to our brother of the Leaf, Chris Rogers. Our prayers are with you. We know you're going through a tough time, so our prayers are with you. We're all in this together. So happy birthday belated to our boy Chris Duque. My man David Torres hanging out there. I hope he's tuning in. I love you, my man. This is one of our global creative guys, and Giselle Herrera, who's celebrating today. Willie Herrera, the better half, she's celebrating today. So congratulations. And with that, I'm going to go. Izzy, last words. You know, I'm taking the robe off. I'm taking the apron off. You know, I'm gonna show what's under this fucking robe right now. So let's go. So you better hit it before the show's over. Let's go.
Cheers, everybody.
Chris Brower,
what's up, man? What do I got? Just letting you know, the only reason I ever come on the show is for the booze, baby.
Good enough. Robin, what's up?
Yeah, thank you for these awesome pairings. I love coffee. I love Dr. Pepper, KFC, we're all faves, and I apologize, Zach, but we'll work on that relationship.
Mr. Snyder, congratulations. I know you'll put this on the mantle, if you know what that is.
I will. I know. Okay. I'm just glad that I didn't get struck by lightning tonight. So that's all I have to say.
Listen, Bailiff Joey, thank you for holding court, making sure everything was tight.
It was tight. It was above, it was above the belt most of the time, which was good. Good to see that. Some shots were fired. But there is one last piece of evidence that has been left out of the proceedings.
Oh, has it? Have I missed something? Have I missed something? What have I missed, sir?
You have missed the most wonderful spirit from the great city of Chicago. Yes, indeed. Malort. Everybody raise your Malort. Get ready for your Malort face because we're doing it. Cheers to everybody. Let's go, Malort, Chicago.
This was a toast for Chicago. If you know what Malort is about, God bless you.
Damn.
What's wrong, guys? What's the matter?
Oh my God. Gee, somebody in the comments said that Malort tastes like Florida, and I must admit that's pretty damn funny.
It's very close.
By the way, that is the comment of the night.
Absolutely.
Malort does taste like Florida.
Florida man.
You know, that's it, man. I've got nothing in the tank here, and whoa,
man,
that is
the
absolutely
opposite of smooth. It's opposite of smooth.
Hey, if I can say one thing, I think I speak for Jack. We both be in agreement on this. I know we went back, we're brothers of the Leaf. So in the end, we're all family. But I will say this, it's not surprising that the vote got screwed up this way. I mean, he's in Chicago where dead people vote. I'm in Florida where we can't even figure out how to count votes. And I'm sure that if I go to Palm Beach County, I can find a hanging Chad that's going to put my ass over the top. So let's go.
Well, I got no response to that. Nothing
Jack,
for that.
Last word, man. Last word. Listen. I've had the honor of being on Cigar Safari back to back with Chris and the ABC crew and with Jack and the Bennies crew. It's the best time of my life. And so I say cheers to you guys. Thank you for being on Six and Sips. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Thank you for the entire marketing team, everybody at Drew Estate, sales, the warehouse, the factory, leadership, You guys are awesome, keeping us on the air, and I love you guys. Thank you so much, Jack. That, my lord, is spiteful. So, so with that, salute. I'm out. Do we have a teaser video, an outro, whatever?
Hey everyone, this is Frankie Drinks. I'm the cigar and spirits pairing specialist for Drew Estate. I'm also the ambassador of the Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve Barrel Fermented line of cigars. It is an honor and privilege to represent Drew Estate Cigar Company. Through our rich and innovative history, we truly have created something for everyone's palate. Together, we will travel to different locations to experience cigar pairings with spirits, cocktails, beverages, and food. Along the way, we will explore a few locations, hang in a few bars, learn some history, and truly celebrate our lifestyle. Come join me as we embark on this journey of discovery. Cheers!